Hi. A rose for you today which is known by more than one name worldwide, which is surprisingly common for those of you that don't know. It is not unusual for a popular rose to be renamed or sold under license in different countries using different names. This particular rose I'm a little bit on the fence with. I'm going to talk through its characteristics because I'm not quite made up my mind what I actually think of this one yet. Supplied in the UK by Harkness Roses, this one is Fellowship, otherwise known in the world as Har Welcome, a world-renowned rose for its strength, its beauty and its poise. However, as I said, I'm a little bit on the fence with it. The colour is incredibly captivating. It's very, very bright. It's very vivid, not my normal wheelhouse at all. But it is incredibly pretty, and I love its loose, open-formed flower, which means a pollinator can get right up in there. But I'm not really finding this rose as true, as strong, as vigorous, and as free-flowering as first you might have thought. Let's get into it and have a look at it. I'm going to handle this one with the utmost care because Fellowship is incredibly prickly. I'm assuming it's incredibly prickly if it's called Har Welcome as well. But as you can see, it has lots and lots of very, very sharp, backward-facing, needle-sharp barbs. They are absolutely lethal and they are laced all the way along the stems from the very, very bottom at the ground all the way up to just 3 or 4 inches away from the flower there. So I'm going to handle it very, very carefully, if you will excuse me. Right, so foliage wise, it is a very, very high gloss, which you often find with the floribunda roses. A very, very high gloss, large leaf, very heavily, deeply serrated on the outer edges. A little bit of word of warning about those barbs. Those barbs also continue up the back of the foliage. I'm not sure the camera will pick them up there. Oh yeah, you can see them. Those barbs continue. They're even a couple of millimeters long there on the back of the foliage. So this really is a very, very difficult rose to handle and very, very angry indeed. So the foliage, high gloss, very, very dark green, as I say, very common along the hybrid teas. This rose reaches comfortably around 2'6", so it's really quite small, and only 2.5 or 2 to 2.5 feet wide. So it's very, very small and compact. However, with its high thorn count, I'm not entirely sure this is a rose that you're going to want to grow in a high traffic area, in a pot, on a balcony or terrace. I think it's just too spiky. I mean, it really is very, very vicious. Very, very upright in its growth habit. I'm going to put it down for just a moment because I'm really worried about cutting myself on it. Very, very upright in its habit. This particular plant has thrown up several very, very tall shoots that stand bolt upright. Very, very true. It stands up to the weather really well, which is another plus point on it. And because of its open form on the flower, it is going to be able to take a little bit of inclement weather. So we're talking about wind, we're talking about rain, we're talking about changing in seasons during the summer like we've had recently, standing up to the heat well, and the flowers not cooking off in high temperatures as well. So standing up to high temperatures incredibly well as well. The actual flower itself is the most interesting. I'm going to describe this as a tangerine. It's a really, really lovely colour, flashed with lots of different colours, pigments as it opens. To begin with, you have this lovely sort of scarlet orange running up the back, then opening into a really, really vivid tangerine colour with hints of apricot and laced with little sherbet lemon streaks up the side of it. Really is very, very pretty. It's a loose, open-formed flower, really, really enjoyed by pollinators. They can get right into the centre of the flower there, unencumbered by lots and lots of petals, and a beautiful glowing gold centre to the flower with a beautiful cluster of golden stamens in the middle. So there's plenty in there for a pollinator to get interested in and enjoy a meal if it does visit this particular flower. But Fellowship, for me, ouch, see, it got me. Fellowship with its needle sharp barbs is just a little bit of a miss for me. I'm not entirely sure why. It's growing on me. It's not certainly as vigorous and as strong as the reports online make it out to be. My growing experience with this one is actually, it very nearly died to begin with. It was a really poor, sickly thing. I've managed to nurse it back to health, but it's still not a great deal to it, and it's not really enjoying where it is. Although it's surprising that it can actually take lots of different forms of environment. It's not standing up very well at the moment. I say, a very upright rose, very, very dark green foliage, a really interesting colour. If you like your strong, bold colours, and here in the North Lodge Cottage garden, you're aware that my wheelhouse is very much of the soft pinks, purples, lilacs and blues. So this colour really does stand out. A little bit jarring on the actual colour. Now the fragrance is, again, a very difficult one to describe. Again, online, this is being described as having a strong fragrance. And maybe my nose is off point. You can hear that I'm slightly bunged up today. My hay fever is really quite bad, but it's floral, which I know a lot of you will laugh at me saying that. It is floral, so it's light and it's fresh. Little bits of hay in there, so you're thinking about freshly mown cut grass and other things like that. So a very interesting fragrance, not particularly strong. This one is going to register somewhere in the region of about a 3 to a 4 on the fragrance rating. I say a little bit on the fence with it. I'd like to know if you grow Fellowship or Welcome anywhere else in the world. Do let me know your thoughts of it, because at the moment the jury's out with myself. I'm not entirely sure, but this is Fellowship, supplied here in the UK through Harkness Roses.